Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of this channel. OLP stands for Odmira Livre podcast. And first of all, I would like to give my apologies for the way I do these videos, because like I said previously, it's not the format I feel most comfortable with, and I know I should be looking at you like this, but many times I look there and there and there and here, and so forgive me for that. I'm not an expert, not on this and many other matters, as you may have seen, but judging by the quality I see on big reference channels, mainstream media, which are poured millions into, I can't help but feel no shame at all by doing it. Anyway, so I wanted to start today. So the world didn't end, surprisingly. It looked like it was about to end because the two evil entities of the two most evil countries, or at least one of the two of the most evil countries, Russia and North Korea, their leaders met. And I believe when they shook hands, they were like crows making noises in the air and storm noises as well. But no, they met. They talked about strategic common goals. They elevated their commitment to a strategic level. I mentioned this. I mentioned I'm doing this to the nose. Don't take any quick conclusions. I am allergic to a lot of things. I do this a lot of time. I will not do like this, like Mrs. Meloni. So they met. It was a lot of speculation before this meeting. A lot of speculation. A lot of hype from the media, and most of the things people talked about were the shells, the weapons, the shells. Of course, they do admit that there will be military cooperation, which is, I mean, the West has warned, and Blinken has said publicly that was watching this closely, and but again, if coming from the hypocrisy land, I'm not surprised, because this at the bottom of the subject, if I may talk like this, what we have here is two sovereign nations deciding their destiny. And this seems to be the pattern of all the countries or entities that US and the Western Bloc demonizes. I know many of you must be thinking like, are you defending North Korean regime, or are you defending this or this kind of liberty, lack of liberty, or whatever? I'm not defending anyone. I'm defending the fact that every nation should be sovereign, and this has been in the unipolar world. Every time a nation tried to do this, look what happened. Look, when Iraq, which was in the good grace of the Americans, because don't forget Saddam Hussein was their puppet, but when he wanted to go and do things his way, look what happened. Gaddafi, look what happened. Syria almost happened, but it's not in good shape. Anyway, don't want to go into that. So they met. They decided a lot of possible cooperations. Of course, Russia has a strategic interest in the territory. The tensions are not only in Europe because of the war in Ukraine, they are mounting in the Pacific as well. Because, as you all know, there are no US bases in the Pacific, and the threat comes only from China, North Korea, and Russia, as you all know. No, the Americans, no presence whatsoever there. No presence at the other people's front door. Anyway, going on. Because I'm stretching too much on this subject, I wanted to talk about other subjects. As you know, I'm streaming from Portugal. And there was a rather amusing news. I find it amusing, but I'm gonna speculate a little bit on the reasons that's why this happened. And the news is Zelensky refused an award. How do you say when when a title of merit of honor is awarded by a state to a person? So the award is called the necklace of the Order of Freedom. It's a symbol to a person who supposedly is defending freedom. And this is an award given by the Portuguese president. And the thing is, Zelensky refused. And then I think it was a little bit of a shame, an awkward moment. The Portuguese president Marcelo gave a statement saying, "No, we accepted, but it was all in a private meeting, in a private session." But later on, we found out that he didn't accept it. Anyway, and I wonder why. There can be several reasons for this, and now this is pure speculation on my part. The award is about freedom. Either he's having a conscience outbreak, if I may say so, conscience attack, or maybe a heavy conscience. And because I think that deep inside Zelensky knows he's not struggling for freedom. And I even, by looking at his expression every time I see him publicly, I even think that he deep down inside knows that he screwed up big time. Big time. Don't forget, this is the man that ran with the promise of fighting corruption and with the promise of establishing peace, and with giving talks about the tolerance, about the Russian speakers, and completely different thing that we see now. So that could be one of the reasons he didn't accept. The second reason is that Portugal is simply irrelevant, and he has more things to worry about than accepting gifts from the Portuguese government. I'm Portuguese. I think I am at will to speak about my own government, which I'm big critic of. I think we lack independence and sovereignty. We basically do what big powers tell us to do. And that could be it. I don't think he pays much attention to Portugal. For example, Portugal doesn't have much to add to it, or that's can be the other reason, is that Portugal is not profitable for the Ukrainian government. Let's put it this way. And yeah, this was, was an awkward moment. Zelensky, bear in mind that the West has made big discovery. This has been talked about in several alt media channels. But the thing is that the news appeared, I saw it at least, on the Ukrainska Pravda. This is, of course, a Ukrainian newspaper. And it gives account of a poll that was made and says that 80% of Ukrainians consider Zelensky responsible for dealing with corruption in government and military administrations. So, what a surprise. What a surprise. I mean, no one could have guessed that. And the Western media picking up on it also gives other kinds of signs. Other kinds of I don't want to, as I also said before, I don't like to go into predictions too much. It is I don't know, I don't feel comfortable with it, but it can mean something. Sure can. I mean, whenever a negative news comes out, coming from Ukrainian newspaper and then being amplified by other Western outlets, it seems to be like they have like prepared an escape door, or coming the right time, they get rid of Zelensky. Many others have talked about this in the past. Gonzalo Lira, do you remember Gonzalo Lira? I still promised to make a video about him, on my thoughts on what is happening. I've been on the night shift. It's been hard on my on my head, so I have to organize and do a little research before I do that video. But Gonzalo Lira talked about this in the past, that the US was preparing to get rid of Zelensky. Of course, the way he put it didn't happen exactly the way he put it, but it's like, I remember he saying they were preparing his assassination or something like this. But at least a political assassination, it is possible in the future. Bear in mind that no matter what Zelensky thinks, the US is in charge. So yeah. And still on Ukraine, I want to highlight a person. Maybe I can show it here. Let me see if I can put it up here. Because, okay. Yeah. So, this person, her name is, wait a minute, Lesia Vasylenko. And she's a member of the Ukrainian parliament. And she said the following sentence. A good Russian is a dead Russian, we say in Ukraine. And then she had a standing ovation because the text goes on and says, Lesia, imagine she didn't write this on her page. No, this is actually, I took this from the Twitter of Victor55. But then I confirmed it, of course, so it's legit. So, a good Russian is a dead Russian, was uttered by Lesia from the podium of the YES International Conference. The YES is the Yalta Strategic Summit. And I mean, this kind of people represent Ukraine officially, and I really feel that I'm repeating myself because I've been evaluating the two sides of the propaganda, the Russian side and the Ukrainian side. Of course, the Ukrainian side has the advantage of when people say Ukraine is winning the media war, it means that Ukraine has the support of most Western, worldwide renowned publications like the New York Post, the Guardian, Washington Post, Politico, and Euronews. I don't know, and the agencies, Reuters, you know the group, and they all parrot the same narrative. But when we think about and normally we see the most radical things published in the alt media, also in the Ukrainian side. But when you have people with this status, with this political weight, talking like this in public. For example, there is this famous Ukrainian site, Mirotrovets. I think it's called this way. I'm sure you heard about it if you follow this subject. It's the famous Ukrainian kill list. Well, the name actually translates ironically to the peacemaker. No one knows exactly who runs it. It's of course Ukrainian and Americans for sure. But when you open this page, which is a page to support the Ukrainian cause and the Ukrainian military and the people that fight for freedom, the first thing I'm not going to show it because it's graphic. The first thing you see on the first page when you open this website, it's a bunch of piled of Russian corpses. Very graphic image. And this does not advocate well for the defenders of freedom. Remember this. I don't see this on the Russian side. I do not see the hate being fomented towards Ukrainian people. It's as simple as this. Please prove me wrong. Maybe I'm a bit distracted. Maybe I don't know. Of course, all your comments, throw me all your what you think. Even if you want to throw me hate, please do it in the comments. I will not censor your comments. It's something I'm very much against to it, unless, of course, if mention other people rather than me, that might be close to me. That I cannot allow. There is a red line, but it's a pretty big buffer. You can make your best. Tell me what you think. And yeah, the slogan in Ukraine, popular in Ukraine, is "Kill Russians, kill Russians." But I've talked about this before as well. Killing Russians or promoting that state of mind, that state of hysteria, generalizing it in a country. How can you then defend a position of peace, a position of human rights, a position of claiming to want to trial the war crimes? You are committing the war crimes yourself. And when you are fomenting this hate, generalizing it on the whole population, and bear in mind that in the case of the website Mirotvorets, something like this, they put up the pictures of the people that they think they are enemies, and this includes many journalists, and this is very concerning that one wants to target journalists. This is the opposite what is claimed to be defended. This is the people, once again, repeating myself, this is the people the West is aligning with. And this, I am sure, do not represent the general Ukrainian people. Because it's by simple logic. No one whole nation cannot thinks alike, and much less thinks in this atrocious way. It's always a strong minority, like Germany, for example. If you remember the World War II and what led, it was a minority that was well funded, well organized, that convinced others to do what they later realized it was wrong, but then it was too late. And I think the same is happening in Ukraine. The Ukrainian propaganda and the Western propaganda try to portray Russia as the new Germany and the new Hitler of Europe. And like I said, it's simply not true. Just remember the Minsk agreements. It's been admitted they were only signed by Ukraine, by the Western part, just to gain time, just to arm Ukraine, just to prepare for this war. Also remember a particular moment at in the early couple of days just before the invasion started, the incursion by the Russian troops. Remember watching a video by a man that I consider a good man, a good comrade, Russell Bentley, and he was on the front. He lives in Donetsk. He was a couple of kilometers from the front line, and he was testifying live about the increasing of the artillery strikes by the Ukrainian side. And so there is a theory. I'm sure you've heard about it. I'm not going to be too. I'm not going to get deep into it, because I don't know all the details, but it's quite plausible that Ukraine was actually preparing to make a move into the Donbass and finish it once and for all. And if they had done it, Russia couldn't do anything. And so I know I will be judged by believing this hypothesis. I do not believe it blindly, but I do think it is a strong hypothesis. Anyway, going on. Yes, the Yalta European Strategy. So, forgive me, but it stands for yes. When you go to its website, it's in one of the conferences of this yes was where this lady pronounced this word, this slogan of killing Russians, and she had a standing ovation. When you say about us, for example, you go and it says liberating territories, returning people home, bringing war criminals to justice, and integrating Ukraine into Euro-Atlantic community. Well, if you want to bring war criminals to justice, you should be well aware that there are plenty of evidence of Ukrainian army committing war crimes. Don't tell me it's because, it's the aggressor, so everything is justified. No, a war crime is a war crime. You see, there are rules. They are not the rules that the Americans decide arbitrarily. There are actually conventions agreed by many nations. And if you stand by it, then you should stand by it. Yeah. Let me see what I have here more that I wanted just to comment on. I don't want to make the video too extent. But another sentence that this Miss Lesia Vasilenko, that she said at this conference was, the more Russians die, the better it is. I have to kill Russians, and this is what I want most of all. Actually, this one, forgive me, it's my mistake. This one was not said by her. This was said by a person named Masi Nayem, a lawyer, that was also speaking to the Yes audience. He also received a standing ovation, and our people are still surprised of this. I mean, what is it? Anyway, I will end it up here. I will wrap it up. And the next video will be, I want to break down an interview that Zelensky gave to The Economist. I hope you like this video. Please give me feedback. Press the like button or the dislike button. Please comment. Please make your critic. Tear it down if you will. I don't really care. Actually, I do not depend monetarily on any of these things. And that's actually a very good thing, because I think I would starve very soon. But anyway, please support this channel. We are about 800 now, and let's make it to the 1,000. Please share this work. If you like it, if you think it has some interesting content, if you think that it at least provokes a thought, it is enough reason to share it with other people. Thank you very much. And of course, if you like this video, please subscribe, follow this channel, help it grow a little bit, help it enhance its contribution in the information space. Thank you very much. Tune in for the next one.